I found out my husband had a second family the day 2 children knocked on my door calling him Daddy. The little boy had his eyes. The girl wore a pink dress just like the one hanging in my daughter's closet. They stood on my porch with backpacks and juice boxes, asking if their daddy, Mr. Davis, was home yet. "Who are you?" My voice came out strangled. "I'm Marcus," the boy said proudly. "This is my sister, Nellie. Our mom said to wait here while she's at the hospital." The world tilted. I gripped the door frame, staring at these children who couldn't be real, but were devastatingly, impossibly real. Marcus was maybe 8. Nellie looked exactly 5, the same age as my daughter Emma, who was at kindergarten, blissfully unaware that her entire existence was about to shatter. My phone was in my hand before I knew I'd reached for it. Jordan answered on the first ring. "Hey babe, what's—" "Come home, now." The silence stretched too long. "What's wrong? I'm in a meeting." "There are 2 children on our porch asking for their daddy. They look just like Emma, just like you." I heard him curse and heard something crash in the background. "Lisa, I can explain. Please, I'm coming. Just don't do anything. I'm coming." He hung up. I stood frozen, staring at Marcus and Nellie through the screen door. They smiled at me with gap-toothed innocence, completely unaware they just detonated a bomb through my chest. Jordan arrived 20 minutes later, his face gray with panic. The children ran to him immediately. "Daddy, Mommy said you'd pick us up." He caught them in his arms, and I watched my husband embrace children I never knew existed. When he looked up at me, tears were streaming down his face. "Lisa, get them out of here." My voice was ice. "Get them away from my house." He made calls. Someone came, a woman I didn't recognize, apologizing profusely, gathering the confused children. Nellie kept asking why Daddy wasn't coming with them. When they were gone, Jordan turned to me, and I saw my entire marriage crumbling in his expression. "How long?" 5 years. It started when Emma was born. You were so focused on her, and I felt invisible. I met Shannon at a conference. It was supposed to be one night, but then she got pregnant, and God, Lisa, I tried to end it so many times. 5 years? Do you think I'm a fool? Marcus is way older than 5 years. Somehow my voice sounded louder than I wanted it to. Marcus was from before. We weren't even married then. All this time, you've been lying to me for all these years? I wanted to tell you I didn't want to break your heart. Get out. The words tore from somewhere primal. Get out of my house. He left, and I collapsed on the kitchen floor, sobbing until there was nothing left inside me. The next morning, I went to work on autopilot. I had to get out of that house, away from Emma's questions about why Daddy was sleeping at Grandma's. I was staring blankly at my computer when someone knocked on my office door. "Lisa?" I looked up into familiar brown eyes. David, my ex-boyfriend from a decade ago, now a billionaire who'd built an empire from the agricultural supply chain we dreamed up together in college. He'd returned to town 2 weeks ago, and I'd politely rebuffed his coffee invitation. Now, seeing his concerned face, something inside me broke open. "Are you okay? You look—" "He has other children," the words spilled out. My husband has been living a double life. There are 2 other children. 2. David crossed the room immediately, pulling me into his arms. I sobbed against his chest, drowning in a grief so vast I couldn't see the edges of it. "I'm so sorry," he murmured into my hair. "I'm so sorry." I pulled back to look at him, this man who loved me fiercely once, who'd never married because, as he'd admitted, he'd never stopped loving me. His thumb brushed away my tears. "Lisa." I don't know who moved first. Suddenly, we were kissing, desperately, hungrily, like I could erase Jordan's betrayal with David's familiar touch. For 30 seconds, I let myself disappear into it. Then reality crashed back. "I can't." I pushed away, horror flooding through me. "Oh God, I can't do this." I grabbed my purse and ran. Jordan came home that night after dropping Emma at his parents' house. I'd been dreading this conversation, but it had to happen. We stood in our living room, the room where we'd celebrated anniversaries, where Emma had taken her first steps, and tore each other apart. "I need to know something," he said, voice raw. "Have you been faithful?" "Are you seriously asking me that? After what you've done?" "Just answer the question, Lisa. Have you ever thought about another man? Ever wanted someone else?" David's kiss burned on my lips. The guilt twisted like a knife. I, I can't even answer. His laugh was bitter. "So you have. Who is it?" "It doesn't matter." "Who?" "David," I screamed. Jordan knew all about David. I had told him everything before we got married. However, I didn't tell him David was in town. I thought doing that would make him feel insecure. Silly me. He's back in town and he wants me back. And yesterday I kissed him. For only a few seconds, I kissed him because my entire world had just exploded. And you've been building a second family for 8 years. So you're using me as an excuse to get back with your ex? What did I expect from you?" I couldn't believe my ears. "You cheated first. That doesn't give you the right to run back into the arms of your first love?" He looked at me with disgust. "Admit it, you've been looking for an excuse to get back with him, now that he's a billionaire." His words felt like a knife. Never in our years together had I thought of going back to David. At least I didn't use the birth of our daughter as an excuse to start another family. I heard myself say. The room fell silent except for our ragged breathing. Then something sharp twisted in my abdomen. I gasped, doubling over. "Lisa?" Another pain, worse this time. I looked down and saw blood spreading across my jeans. "Jordan, something's wrong." His face went white. "Hospital, now." The emergency room was a blur of fluorescent lights and urgent voices. A doctor with kind eyes delivered news that hollowed me out completely. "Did you know you were pregnant, Mrs. Davis? I'm very sorry, but you've had a miscarriage." I hadn't even known, hadn't suspected. And now this baby, this ghost of a future, was gone. Jordan held my hand as I cried, his own tears falling onto our joined fingers. In that moment, the betrayal didn't matter. The double life didn't matter. We were just 2 people who'd lost something irreplaceable. "I'm sorry," he whispered, "for everything. I'm so sorry." I couldn't respond. I had nothing left. A week later, I returned to work. David was waiting outside the building with flowers. his face etched with worry. "Lisa, thank God. No one would tell me what happened. Are you okay?" "I lost the baby. I was pregnant and I lost it." The flowers fell from his hands. "Jesus, I'm so sorry. I'm here. Whatever you need, I'm here." I looked at him, this kind, successful man who'd never stop loving me, who represented escape from the ruins of my marriage. It would be so easy to fall into his arms, to let him rescue me. But that's all it would be. Rescue, not rebuilding. "David, you need to stop coming." "Okay, we can meet somewhere else." I almost smiled at his words. "David, I mean, we should stop seeing each other." "What?" "No, I'm not leaving you alone right now," he argued. "You're not a solution. You're an escape, and I can't afford to escape." My voice strengthened. "I have a daughter. I have a husband who I made vows to, vows that I must honor. I have a life that's broken, and I need to figure out what to do with the pieces." I explained slowly, letting each word sink. "He doesn't deserve you," he replied, his voice barely above a whisper. "Maybe not, but I must protect my home, for Emma's sake." His face crumpled. "I came back for you." "I know, and I'm asking you to leave for me." He stood there for a long moment, then slowly bent to gather the fallen flowers. When he looked at me again, his eyes were swimming. "I hope he knows how lucky he is." "Goodbye, David." I watched him walk away, flowers clutched in his hand, disappearing into the morning crowd. My heart ached, not for him, but for the girl I'd been before life taught me that love was complicated, that betrayal could coexist with grief, that sometimes staying was braver than leaving. I didn't know if Jordan and I would survive this. I didn't know if forgiveness was even possible. But I knew I wouldn't run. Not to David, not to anyone. I'd face my broken life head on, pick up the pieces myself, and build something new from the wreckage, even if it hurt, especially because it hurt. That's what it meant to be alive.